Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wow. Look at this room. I'm honored. Thank you for taking your time out of your day. Time is something that's precious to all of us. And to see everybody out here is absolutely amazing to me. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment and your support over the last decade. Thank you to my family, my husband and my daughter here. Thank you for everything that I have put you through over this journey. Steve Shine, I absolutely, it's been great working with you all of this time. We're going to continue doing that, but many elected officials are here, friends, and some of my coworkers, some of my staff are here on their own time, and I truly appreciate them. I'll talk a little bit more about them here in a few minutes. The media, obviously, thank you for being here, and we'll get started. On November 2015, the voters entrusted me with the greatest privilege of my professional career, the opportunity to serve as the first Republican to hold the seat as Fort Wayne City Clerk in 44 years. I have now served in this capacity for over a decade. I've won 3 terms, and I'm still honored to be elected and hold this position. Thank you to all the voters in the city that have placed their trust in me. I believe you will agree that I've worked hard and have many accomplishments to show for that hard work. That's what has made my time in this position so special. I can see the difference that we make in Fort Wayne every single day, and that gives me the drive to keep working and moving forward. If you recall, I walked into a city office on January 4th of 2016 with nothing. As a tangible example, I walked into the break room. It was empty. There wasn't a fork, a spoon, a knife, a plate, a cup. The cabinets were empty. The microwave was gone. The coffee maker was gone. The refrigerator had been wheeled out and it was gone. The only thing in that break room was the kitchen sink. The only thing. To say that we started from scratch was not an exaggeration. There was no transition by the prior administration to keep the office going. Most of the staff had quit. Files and documents had been shredded or thrown out prior to my term starting. There were trash cans with shredded documents in them and recycle bins throughout the building that held files from the city clerk's office that had been thrown out by the prior administration. Work that should have been done had been piled up for years. There were ordinances that passed council which were never processed legally into city code. Ordinances were not filed, but rather thrown in stacks. Agendas for city council were never processed timely or legally. Parking enforcement was being kept afloat by Fort Wayne taxpayers. Anywhere from a few $1,000s to up to $500,000 a year was being poured into Fort Wayne parking enforcement because it was running in the red. They were losing money by the hour. The Violations Bureau didn't have any processes in place to collect receivables for the city. So a lot of money that was lost because receivables were neglected and past the statute of limitations for collections. Receivables were becoming uncollectible every single day. Day one, we rolled up our sleeves to move forward and never, ever looked back. We started working towards the goal of efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency. My first day was a Monday, and we had to quickly figure out how to put together an agenda for a Tuesday council meeting with no one with expertise, no documentation to do that. And you know what? We did it. And we did it every single week for the last decade. And we posted those agendas on Friday afternoon as they're legally required to be done, and not Mondays or Tuesdays as they were done prior to that. We started auditing 7 years worth of ordinances so that city code can be updated to what council passed for the 7 years prior to that. Since that first week, council agendas, as I stated a minute ago, were posted legally and timely. Ordinances were processed weekly to keep up code and legally provide up-to-date information to the public, to the citizens of Fort Wayne, which is what they elect us to do, right? Processes were put into place in the Violations Bureau in order to collect as much receivables as possible. Administrative hearings were doubled so that the citations that were due to the city could be taken through the collection process and collected. As for parking enforcement, the department had been started to become self-funded shortly after day one of our administration beginning, due to advances in technology and efficiency. Within the first 2 months, we modified how citations were written. Prior to my administration, parking enforcement, the 7 officers that you see out there, had computers stationary in their vehicles. So when they found a violation out on the street, they'd have to write down the VIN number, the plate number, run to the car, get in, do the citation in the computer, print it, run back to the car and put it on the windshield. Within the first 2 months, we had iPhones in their hand and printers on their belt, and as they walked down the street, they wrote the citation, put it on the windshield, and they moved on. The efficiencies that we started within the first 2 months alone made a huge difference in how they operated. Because of that, we were able to purchase new smart parking meters by the end of 2017. So less than 2 years from the beginning of my administration, we spent over $900,000 on new parking meters for downtown Fort Wayne, so you not only could use coins, but credit cards in parking meters. And you know what? We didn't use a taxpayer dollar to do it. We used it from a self-funded parking enforcement department that should have been operated that way many years before it actually was. We added Park Mobile in 2024, making use of the mobile app, giving options for on-street parkers from coins, credit cards, and now the mobile payments. This made parking on-street much more versatile and convenient for citizens and visitors to our great city. We've added numerous accessible parking spaces. We started with 9. We have 25 today. We have upgraded signage on the streets. And those are just some of the advances and achievements we have made over the last decade. I'm proud of all of those achievements, but one that I will always cherish is the project that we did called Meters with a Mission. And many of you might remember that. We took old parking meters that we had taken off the street, and we had companies adopt those parking meters and adopt nonprofit organizations. They made those meters into art projects. We put them out in front of businesses in downtown in 2021, and all the money that was collected in those meters was donated to those nonprofits, and every company that sponsored those meters matched dollar for dollar the money that was collected in them. We built 28 corporations and 28 nonprofits. We built relationships that still today exist. We're very proud of that. That project won a state award from AIM. It also won an award from the International Parking Mobility Institute, where I was honored to go to Tampa and receive an award for that. Very proud of that. We turned the city clerk's office from one of embarrassment to the city to an office serving the citizens effectively, efficiently, and transparently. It has always been my philosophy that we serve everyone, and we have achieved that every single day. During my time as city clerk, I also served on the political side in many capacities, as vice chair of the county, as treasurer of the 3rd District. Due to my work on accessible parking issues, I became passionate about helping those that needed a voice. those with disabilities. I served over 9 years on the League for the Blind and Disabled. I served on the Metropolitan Human Relations Commission, where I was appointed by City Council for 11 years. And I also was appointed to CityLink Public Transit Board by Mayor Tom Henry for 2 terms. I've served on my HOA, Purdue Extension, and Access Television Board. My service as a public servant has not been limited to one avenue, but many avenues to make a bigger impact on the city that I love. I've served honestly, transparently, with grace, with vision, with passion, with honor, and with conviction. My work ethic is well known, and I put my heart and soul into my work, and I'd do it all again. A few months ago, I was verbally attacked by the Democrat County Chair, whom I don't know and doesn't know me. That attack started after I made a statement regarding redistricting. I responded once to his attack. To comment further was lowering my standards to someone that was looking for a fight where there was no fight. His goal was simply to divert attention from his party's abysmal track record in our city, our county, our state, and our nation. He was grasping at straws to be relevant. With my record and my achievements in my professional career, along with my known work ethic and my commitment to making a difference, I didn't need to make further comments. Those that have met me or worked with me know my reputation and my commitment to doing what's right. If you review my votes in my last 3 elections in 15, 19, and 23, you'll see that the voters know and appreciate my record and what I've done in the city. I'd like to thank those that reached out during this time with messages of love and support. I was overwhelmed with the kind messages and the comments. I was also bombarded with messages from Democrats that disagreed with the Democrat County Chair in Allen County and wanted me to know that his comments were not reflective of most of the Democrat Party here in Allen County. I've continued to get those. I actually got one yesterday when I swore in somebody who's run for office in Allen County several times as a Democrat. And he wanted me to know that I would be missed and that he did not acknowledge or agree with the comments that were made by the county chair from the Democrat side. Let me clarify a few things regarding the last 11 months. I was asked by the governor to take the Indiana Republican Party position, and I was honored to be asked. I was elected to that position by the Republican State Committee on February 13th. I've continued to put my heart and my soul into my position as Fort Wayne City Clerk, as well as my other boards and commissions that I named earlier. Dropping all those commitments and starting a new position was not feasible due to all the projects and unfinished work that I had committed to completing. As all high-level executives face, you have a lot of moving parts in the works and things that you're passionate about and you want to finish. And that's what I wanted to do. It was completely understood that I would be completing the work started in the city before resigning my position. Also, it was important to me to find the right person to endorse for this elected position. I fought hard to win this seat, and I would not walk away without clearing a path for the next Republican to be successful in this position. I've spent the last 11 months working 15 or more hours a day, 7 days a week to fulfill my commitments as Fort Wayne City Clerk, full-time commitment, and my new position, which is also full-time, plus the other boards and commissions that I sat on that I have slowly let go over the last year. As a question about my pension, one of the benefits of working for this city is a pension. For anyone that knows anything about perf and eligibility, I actually became eligible over almost 2 months ago. If that had been my passion and the reason for staying, I would have been gone and not still here. I'm still here to fulfill my duties as Fort Wayne City Clerk and to ensure we have a smooth transition to newly elected officials so that they are successful and the Republican Party is successful and the city of Fort Wayne is successful. With all of that being said, my long-term goal is and always has been to make a bigger difference in our great state before I retire. My initial plan was to stay in Fort Wayne and run for higher office. My plans changed when I was asked by the governor to be the Indiana State Republican chair. My decision to move forward with that position was due to the impact I can make on the state and the national level. And I look forward to fulfilling that goal of making a bigger difference and continue to make that difference going forward. This is not goodbye. I may have a different title, I may have a different focus, but my commitment to serving is unwavering, and I will be continuing to serve our city, our county, our state, and our country with that same commitment, with the same work ethic, and the same transparency that you have come to expect from me. I thank you sincerely for your continued support and your love. And so many friends in this room, my heart is so full. I'd also like to take a minute to thank my city staff. I don't do this by myself. I do it with a staff, and a couple of them are here today. And every time I look at them, I cry. So, sorry. We have built a great team. We have accomplished a lot. And I'm proud of every one of my city staff members because they are out on this street and they're in the office and they have the same commitment as I have. And they deserve the world for what they do every single day. Love you guys. Effective January 19th, I will be resigning my position as Fort Wayne City Clerk. A caucus will be held on January 17th to fill that position.